sometimes finding the right motivation for the things that we know we ought to do is hard. It's been a long week, and so sometimes by the end of the week you feel used up, you feel spent, and it can be hard to find the motivation to continue to use your gifts, continue to do your job, and continue to maintain your responsibilities and be diligent and disciplined about the things that you ought to do. And sometimes this can be the case even with our life with the Lord. It can be hard to constantly find the motivation and to dig deep and find that motivation to serve Him and do the things that we know that He has gifted us to do and that He has called us to do. But we ought to stay properly motivated to serve the Lord. In Acts chapter 9, verses 32 through 35, we read about Peter, and this is what it says. As Peter was traveling from place to place, he also came down to the saints who lived in Lydda. There he found a man named Aeneas, who was paralyzed and had been bedridden for 8 years. Peter said to him, "Aeneas, Jesus Christ heals you. Get up and make your bed." And immediately he got up. So all who lived in Lydda and Sharon saw him and turned to the Lord. And so we see here that Peter is using his gifts. He's doing the things that God has empowered him to do. And there's this response to it, not only from the man being healed, but from the people that witness this. And so what we see is that we ought to do the things God has called us to do. We ought to be motivated to do those things because He's given us the power to do them. Peter was given the power by God to heal others. And so that should provide him the proper motivation to do that, knowing that God has given him the power and the ability to do this thing. But then also we see that as Peter is using his gifts, as he's doing the things that God has called him to do and empowered him to do, people take notice, and not only do they take notice, but they then decide to turn to the Lord. And so when you and I use our gifts, when we choose to follow Christ and do the things that He's called us to do and empowered us to do, often what we can experience is that people will take notice, and not only take notice, but choose to seek Jesus. And so today and the rest of this week, know that God wants to use you. And not only does He want to use you, but He gives you the power to do the things that He wants you to do. And that in doing those things, you can influence other people to choose Jesus and follow Him. So be encouraged with that today. Have a blessed day.